Welcome back to the eSports Report. We just talked to Parasite, who played with Prophecy on Saturday. He goes to the finals, that, of course, being Ricky, their new pickup of Embos, and Clayster was the third for that one. Clayster played with Prophecy both days, actually, and he's now joining the show. Clay, welcome, my friend. There's been a lot of moves recently. Of course, after playing with Optic Gaming, you joined Envy at the start of Season 1. And as of today, you are officially now a member of Denial, that coming from the trade. You and JCap over for Zuma and Saints. First of all, how you feeling after this weekend? You looked really freaking good on Saturday with the Prof Boys.
I'm feeling really good just in my ability to play the game. Getting traded, basically dropped from Envy, it was kind of, it made me question myself. So after playing with some other guys, playing with Bose, Ricky, Parasite, we play with Mochilla and Miracles as well. To be able to perform with some other players just made me actually realize that, I have what it takes in this game, and I think it's actually probably one of my better games of Call of Duty. So I'm just excited for people like you to see that I'm actually pretty good at this game and not lower tier like most people have been calling me.
No, we know you're pretty good, Clay. It's a little bit interesting, your kind of road in AW, right? So, you stay on Optic through all of Ghosts, really excited for them to have you on this roster for AW. Looked like an AR dominant game coming in. And then, you go over to Envy. Then on Envy, you put up some of the best stats, but, things just didn't work out. What do you think happened with that team? Because obviously you were playing pretty well in the slaying department on all game modes. I mean, nothing really going on with you. What do you think happened with that team?
After Columbus, we got a fifth, sixth placing, and we all weren't really satisfied with that. So I started taking a look at our stats to see maybe if there was something that we could improve on. And I found a unique stat that was something like 86% of the time, the team that outslays wins the game, or the respawn mode. So I was like, well, we're kind of slacking in the slaying department. We don't have really that explosive player like, a Scump or a Zuma, like somebody that can just go off with the subs. So I decided to take that role on and started slaying a lot harder, dropping 40s every hard point, doing my job in CTF and stuff. And we had a really disappointing placing at Orlando. So obviously that wasn't the problem. But I honestly think it had something to do with just the way the pieces of the team fit together. Me, Merc, JCap, and Nameless all at one point anchored in Black Ops 2. So I think that says something about our playstyle. And even though we had like that veteranship and that, that experience there just was something not clicking. And after we got that disappointing finish at Orlando, I kind of knew something was going to happen, but I wasn't sure what was going to happen yet. And unfortunately, that ended up with me and JCap getting dropped from the team.
Right, so you kind of mentioned it a little bit there. I noticed it too watching your gameplay. I mean, you've been putting up good numbers in all respawn, but you've also been doing a lot of the objective work with a sub. Is that a role that you want to keep playing on a new team, or do you want to go back to playing more of the traditional Clayster, AR, more dominant, farther back slaying role?
A lot of people had this perception of me that I'm like the statue AR player, like a Ricky or something, where I just kind of set up and shoot people with an AR. But after playing a year at Ghost, where I was basically forced into using a submachine gun that required recoil management, the Vector, I've gotten a lot better with it. And COD Stats actually tweeted me a stat just the other day saying that I'm like the third most aggressive player in CTF, like engagements map. And so, I definitely wanted to have both the AR and the SMG in my pocket to be able to use. So whatever team needs me, I can use either one. And I've been switching back and forth depending on who my teammates have been. Running a BAL if we have 3 strong subs, or running a sub if we already have a strong BAL. And I can do both pretty well. I feel like I'm more impactful with a submachine gun, but I'm also more impactful on map positioning and map control with an AR. So it really just depends on what my teammates are using. And, I just wanted to have the ability to use both. So if a team needs an AR player, I can do that AR role. But if a team needs a sub, I can do that as well, instead of just being cast away like, oh, he's just an AR player. It's been looking up in this game. I've learned how to use the ASM pretty well, and I think my stream viewers, anybody that watches my stream, will attest to that.
So let's take a look at both rosters you played with this week, right? The Saturday and the Sunday team. So let's start with the Saturday team with Ricky, and it's a Parasite instead of Miracle. So with that type of team, how do you see your role fitting in? And I mean, is that a team that you would be comfortable with moving forward?
It definitely is a team I'd be comfortable moving forward. Denial has kind of expressed disinterest in me I wasn't comfortable with the players that they were attempting to pick up, so I'm not really sure if I'm going to be staying on Denial. It's not looking like it right now. It looks like I'm just going to be traded to another team. But basically, I enjoyed playing with Parasite, Ricky, and Embos just because the vibe of the team felt really good. And a lot of people don't really talk about it, but in-game attitude and out-of-game attitude, the way players talk to each other, the way the players hold each other up, the way your teammates support you if you make a bad play, or even they hype you up if you make a good play. And it felt really good playing with Parasite, Ricky, and Embos. I've expressed my disinterest in Embos in the past because of the way he sometimes shuts down in tournaments, but I haven't played with him in about a year now, and I feel like he's made really good improvements to keeping his mental game strong and his attitude strong. Then you have a player like Ricky, who's honestly just one of the most supportive players in game. It's like you mess up, he's like, it's all good, it's all good. And then you have Parasite, who's constantly keeping tabs on players, keeping tabs on the map, making sure everybody's doing what they need to do. And it felt like a really good mix of players the way we all collided.
Right. I think this is the third weekend in a row you've been playing with Bose and Ricky, I believe. Last weekend it was with Mochilla, and you guys made it to the finals, if I'm correct. And then obviously making it to the finals with Parasite.
Look at that smile.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I got dropped, made it to 3 straight finals. It's fine.
What's up?
No biggie. But do you see something working out for season 1 where you end up on a team for champs? Or I think a lot of the players that we've been speaking to have been saying season 1 team and champs team.
I'm not even really sure if all the season 1 teams are going to be champs teams. And this is something I kind of wanted to touch on. The rules that MLG put in place for the league, I really thought that was a step forward in Call of Duty eSports. And then we haven't really had them come into effect too much until all this stuff was going on now. There's been the trade here and there, but there's never really been any major swapping of players when all this is going on, and it wasn't free agent season. And the thing about season 1 is that some of the owners, their team is basically crumbling underneath of them, and they're trying to hold on for dear life, so they're holding on to their players that otherwise want to go to other teams, and they're demanding, ridiculous amounts of money and ridiculous amounts of, they want money plus another good player, and it's kind of difficult to arrange all these things for season 1. I want my season 1 team to be my champs team, but the more and more that the days go on and the more I talk to all these owners trying to figure it all out, the more it's looking like it's not going to happen that way. And even though I want it to, I'm not really sure if that's going to happen because just the way everything's fleshing out. And, we're going to definitely try, roster locks, I think, in 2 days for season 1.
Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah, so 2 days we have to figure all this out. And, we're getting close. We were right near a solution to figure out, what my champs team would be, what my season 1 team would be, if they're going to be the same thing or if they're not. And I'm not even still certain if the, Bose and Ricky are the guaranteed champs team or even the guaranteed season 1 team. I was mainly just playing these tournaments with them these past couple of days, week or so, just to see if they had what it takes. And after, reaching the finals 2 out of 3 times with them, we beat Optic Gaming actually in the semifinals with Mochilla. And, that was pretty big. They were all really intense matches, and we ended up beating them 3-1. And that was the first time I beat them online since the beginning of the game. I think the first week of the game. So, that says something for a pickup team to come out and beat the reigning champs of Orlando. So we'll just see how it all plays out.
Clay, got to ask you, man, dream team, if you could find 5 free agents or your top 5 guys to team with, who are those 5 and who would you put in as your starting 3 to join you?
Oh, wow, that's a really difficult and
on the spot. I like it, Puckett.
Yeah, that's on the spot. So if we're talking about players overall that are on teams or players that are just free agents right now?
On teams. On teams for the first top 5. Then give me your free agent list for who you surround yourself with for champs.
There's always that top cream of the crop players. Some of the people I'd put up there, Krim, obviously, Scump, obviously. Then you go into others like, I would even start putting Zuma up there just because of how well he's been playing lately. Karma is up there. Even though he hasn't had the best performance in this game, you need to surround yourself with players that know how to pull themselves out of, slumps. And Karma is one of those players that's been around so long that, how ON is doing is not indicative of any of those players' performance. All the players on ON right now are some of the toppest of the tier of Call of Duty competitive players. And to be honest, just those 4, and then, I'll throw in I guess formal, so Optic, I guess, has 3 out of the top 5 in it already.
Yeah. Pretty good crop. Clay, I got to ask you something. There's a player out there that's trying out some people that you've had a pretty decent amount of success for in the past. Would you ever consider playing with Aches again?
Oh, me and Pat have had some lengthy discussions the past couple of weeks. When I knew I was kind of getting dropped from Envy, I was looking to surround myself with players that I know that have the ability to win tournaments. And it's hard to find those players out there. There's been players that have won a tournament here and there. But there's never been players that have really won multiple tournaments or even more than 2. And Ace is one of those players. He knows how to win. He knows how to get things done. And he's phenomenal at what he does. So I would most definitely play with Ace again. I'm not sure how that would work in terms of, team-wise, role-wise. But I definitely would consider teaming with Ace again.
He'd consider it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd consider it.
I like it. Not ideal, but he'd consider it.
It's in this community, you can't really burn too many bridges. When I got dropped from Cole, a couple were burned, but we managed to mend those back up over the past year and a half since that's happened. And I've just kind of learned not to take anything to heart anymore. Like, don't hold any grudges or anything like that. And Ace is one of those players where people are like, oh, he would never team with him again. And honestly, teaming with him towards the end of Cole's cycle, it wasn't too much fun. I kind of dreaded getting on every day and stuff like that. Yeah,
Can confirm.
But but he knows how to win, and that's what I'm trying to do is win COD champs. That's the only tournament I haven't won. I've won a UMG, I've won an MLG, I've won a Gfinity, I've won an eSports World Cup. So I've won all these tournaments, but the only one I don't have under my belt yet is COD Championship. So that's what I'm looking out to do, and Ace is one of those players that can do it.
Be something to go along with that gold medal.
It's something to go along with that X Games.
I like it. Well, Clay, best of luck to you. The final question is, I guess, out of all the teams, we know you've had some success playing with Embos, playing with Ricky. Filling your 4th doesn't matter. You guys are doing work. Is there any other duo out there that you could be looking at, or any other 2 players that you'd want to align yourself with now out of the free agency pool?
Actually, I'm not really talking to anybody else other than Bose and Ricky. I've kind of, went forward with them and said, hey, I really like the way we play. I'm definitely going to be transparent and tell them that I'm seeking out other options. And I'm not sure if that whole phase roster is sticking together, Sensor, Apathy, and then obviously Ace is not staying with them. But I'm not really sure what Sensor and Apathy are doing. And Sensor actually hit me up the other day and he just said, hey, let's talk soon. But we never actually got around to doing it, so I'm not sure if that's an option, if that's what he wants or anything. But other than him and Apathy, there's not too many other players out there that need a team that I think are worthy of winning COD champs. I'm not looking to place well, like I said. I'm not looking to get a 3rd place again or a 5th place or whatever. I'm looking to win the whole tournament, so I'm trying to find the right players that have the ability to win those tournaments.
I think that would be, if Sensor and Apathy were looking for 2, I think that would be an option that you would kind of have to explore. We've already seen them win 1 tournament on AW, beating Optic Gaming twice.
U.S. regional champions with Strictly Business back in Ghost. These guys have a history.
They have a history of playing good in the big tournaments. So I think that would be a wise decision.
All right. Well, Clay, I know we're going to hear a lot from you in the next 2 weeks. In fact, this week, roster lock for Season 1 is coming this Wednesday. We'll be following you very closely. For those of us who aren't watching the ESR, where can we watch you elsewhere?
Definitely check me out, mlg.tv/Clayster, and my Twitter as well. It's twitter.com/Clayster. Keeping it all simple for you guys.
Keeping it Clayster.
It's pretty easy. Pretty easy.
Yeah,
I like it, my friend. Well, best of luck. Let us know when you're ready to announce. We'll be right here waiting for you.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Clay.
So we talked to Parasite. We talked to Clay. Both of them giving props to Embos and Ricky. Yeah. But I like Clay being aware of his situation right now and that it might not be as easy as it could be to get on his ideal team.
Right. I think he's keeping an open mind to the whole process, and I think that's the right way to do it. He's not not trying to force his way anywhere, just seeing out the process, making sure, he'll have this Season 1 team. If it's his champs team, great. If not, then he'll figure out everything for champs, and I'm sure Clay will play great as always.
All right, we're also going to have Slack joining the show as well, currently a member of Justice, but this weekend he played with the Stunner Boys. We'll hear from him where he wants to be. Of course, Season 1, $75,000 is going to be the biggest prize pool for everyone under 18 here in Q1. You'll also be looking forward to Season 2 as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.